Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk everything career progression and entrepreneurship. So, in this video, I'm going to be dropping you some really breaking news about international students in the UK. So, basically, currently, as we speak, it is being reviewed. In fact, the ability for international students in the UK to bring their relatives, so dependents with them, is currently under review. So if you're an international student, you know anybody who is an international student in the UK, you know anybody who is planning to study in the UK, anything at all, just make sure that you share this video with them because it's going to have nuggets and everything that they must know about being an international student and their dependents. So basically, 2 days ago, there was an article published in the Telegraph. So that's an English newspaper. It's quite a famous newspaper as well. So basically, what they said was that the immigration minister, so that's the Home Secretary, she's in charge of immigration in the UK. She's currently reviewing her and her office and her team are basically reviewing the ability for international students in the UK to bring their dependents. So currently, how it stands, if you're studying in the UK, obviously you can bring your dependents with you. So that's your wife, your partner, you know, your husband. You can bring your kids with you. That's absolutely fine. You can either bring them with you the first time you're coming, or you can come to the UK first if you want to first of all come in, you know, sort out the house, sort out the school, sort out just to understand the system before you bring your family. You can do that as well. It's really up to you as the main applicants. And in fact, a huge advantage that the current system provides for international students is that when you're in the UK as an international student, you have restrictions to how much you can work. So you can work a maximum of, is it 20 hours or is it 24 hours during term time? But during holidays, you can work as much as you want, and there's absolutely no issue whatsoever. But you're dependent. So if you bring your husband or your wife, or you know, they or your children, for example, they are allowed to work, you know, full time. That's because they're dependent, so they are not the main applicant. So this is a huge advantage for many people who are bringing, say, their spouse when they get to the UK. So basically, the whole thing is under review. And let me tell you why it's under review. So it's because of the numbers. So basically, between March 2021 and March 2022, the number of international students moving to the UK to study, like getting UK visas, has increased by 71%. That is a staggering increase. Obviously, I don't know if it's because of COVID. You know, if there was COVID in the last 2 years, that definitely influenced, you know, the number of students coming. But obviously, because now there's movement, everything is back to normal, so people can travel. But still, when you look back at 2017, 2016, when there was no COVID, the current numbers are the highest, apparently, that the UK has ever had, with almost 450,000 student visas issued in this last 12 months. So obviously, a new visa was announced recently for unskilled workers, saying that if you haven't watched that video, obviously I've done a video about that visa and all the requirements. I'm going to link it in the description section below. And if you're a returning subscriber, obviously you're welcome to the channel. It's lovely to have you. It's always great to have you watching these videos. Leave any comments below. If you're a new subscriber, hit that subscribe button, notification button, so that you're the first to be notified when I drop a video. Because look, if you like this content, there is more coming. Also check the channel for other videos that are posted regarding similar topics, because we're all about career progression and entrepreneurship so that we can live successful lives, retire early when we haven't yet got arthritis. So basically, the number of international students has increased drastically. And I was very fascinated because in this article, there were three countries mentioned. Three countries. I'm going to tell you what countries there were. So one of the countries mentioned was Nigeria. So the article explained that in the last 12 months, almost 34,000 students have come from Nigeria to study in the UK. And they went ahead to explain that of these 34,000 students, they brought in about 31,000 dependents, which means that of the 34,000 visas that were given to students from Nigeria to study in the UK, these 34,000 students brought an additional 31,000 relatives with them. So this would be their wives, husbands, children. Obviously, I've got no details of who these relatives were, but those are the numbers. So they are obviously saying that the numbers are too high. They need to review the quality of these people coming in. Who are they? How old are they? When they get to the UK, what do they do? What are their qualifications? Are they working when they get to the UK? Are they not working? Are they retired? Are they young? Are they old? So they're currently reviewing this data, and this data, depending on what they find, they're then going to determine what the laws subsequently are going to be. So obviously, the new laws will be implemented. We don't know, because they've said that it depends on the data that they find of who these people are that are coming, but it's going to influence the law that comes then after that. Another country was mentioned as well. So that country was India. So they said that over 90,000 students came from India to study in the UK in the last 12 months. And these students brought with them about 25,000 dependents. So they brought about 25,000 relatives with them. Obviously, these relatives, it's being looked into. Who are they? What do they do? How old are they? How are they related to the, all of that, just to see, because they want to keep people who are productive, encourage people who are more productive to come to the UK, and obviously turn down or don't accept people that they think are not productive according to their terms. Obviously, as you can imagine, there are so many prominent people that have spoken about this article since it was published 2 days ago, and they're obviously saying that international students bring a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of abundance to the UK, and it'll be ridiculous for the government to make any amendments to the current rules that international students can bring dependents. And this is because many of the students coming are mature students, which means that these are husbands, these are wives, these are people that have already got families. So obviously, they want to spend that time with their relatives. So if this is ended, if they do this review and say, look, international students can no longer bring their relatives, obviously, this is going to affect the universities. Because at the end of the day, this is a business for the universities. They are milking it. They make a lot of money from international students, and so they will definitely be fighting tooth and nail to ensure that this policy does not change, because it's going to be their loss. Third country that was mentioned. So the third country was Libya. So this article actually said that 222 students came from Libya last year in the UK, so in the last 12 months, and a staggering almost 450 dependents were brought by 220 people, which means that they gave 220 people student visas, but these people brought in an additional 450 people with them. So they're thinking, who are these people? Are they children? So again, they're looking at the data to then influence the policy going forward. But the interesting thing really is, in fact, you may be watching this and you're not familiar with the system in the UK, and you're thinking, Melvis, who is a UK student and who is an international student? So for you to be considered as a home student in the UK, so a UK student, for fee payment purposes, you basically need to either have indefinite leave to remain generally, or you need to have a British passport. So these are the people that are generally considered as home students or UK students for fee payment purposes. It's not the fact that you're physically in the UK that makes you a UK student. No, it depends on your your citizenship, your immigration status, basically. So there are many people that live in the UK and study here and are still considered international students. So, I also studied here as an international student because I came from another country just to study nursing. So that's what I was. And then international students obviously are people who haven't got this indefinite leave to remain, or who are not British. But again, it depends, because you need to live in the country for so long, even if you're British. Obviously, if you're living overseas and you're British, you need to be here for at least 3 years before you could be considered a home student. So there are so many things that they actually look at to class somebody as a home student or as a UK or international student, basically. But another staggering statistic that I found was that this same 12-month period, international students brought in a staggering £26 billion to the UK economy. £26 billion is a whole lot of money. The main reason for this is that school fees for home students, that's UK, I'll just say UK students to make it easier. So tuition fees at university for UK students are capped. I think this was done in 2017. So the government decided to say that universities cannot charge more than £9,250 for a UK student. This means that legally universities cannot charge more for UK students, but obviously there's inflation. We know that between 2017 and now, prices have gone up, but universities are not allowed to increase prices for UK students' tuition fees because of this law. So what do they do then? So they increase the prices for international students instead. What this means is that instead of international students paying, say, I don't know, 10,000 for a course, they're now paying almost double that amount. Just to put this into perspective, when I studied in the UK years ago, I paid £10,000 to study nursing. My course mates at the same time were not paying any tuition fees at the time, but I paid £10,000 as an international student. The same university where I studied is currently charging almost £18,000 for the same course from international students. So what this means is that UK universities can increase the prices for international students as much as they want, and there are no rules. You know, you can charge 20,000, you can charge 30,000. In fact, talking about charging 30,000, I've got my friend who is Chinese. She's studying, she came from China to the UK to study medicine. So basically, she is paying £37,000 every year in tuition fees in the university where she's studying. £37,000 a year as an international student to study medicine in the UK. But at the same time, her, core students who are UK students are paying £9,000 for the same course. So you may be wondering, why is she paying that amount of money? Well, it's because the university can charge that amount of money if they want to. So basically, what I will say is that international students are actually bringing in more to this country than they are actually taking out. That's the reality of it. If you've been an international student, if you know the immigration laws in the UK, you know that international students are an asset. We are the ones that are basically paying for most of the facilities in this country. More cost again, I'm just thinking, because you need to pay the healthcare surcharge. So if you're an international student, you bring your spouse, and if you've got 3 children, that's 5 people. The UK has the highest, amounts when it comes to visa fees. You're going to be paying staggering amounts to get your visa. Then there's a healthcare surcharge that is £470 per person per year, which means that if you're a family of 5, you're going to be paying about £2,300 or so just for a single year for your healthcare. And it's even more interesting because many of these international students, they're not necessarily people that have got so many health conditions that are going to be, seeing doctors every day, going to the NHS, going to hospitals. No, most of these students are young and healthy people. But this is all a way of just making money out of international students. So I think that allowing people to bring their families, to bring their relatives with them as it is now is really the best thing to do, because already there are so many costs associated with bringing your family anywhere. It's not like it's a free service. And, thinking about the 26 billion that it brings to the UK economy, if anything, we should be thankful for these international students coming and how much they are contributing to the system. Now, another thing to talk about is indefinite leave to remain. So let's go back to the scenario. A family of 5, husband, wife, 3 kids. If for you to get indefinite leave to remain in the UK after 5 years, so that's what will make you then a UK student if you were studying after that, you need to pay for your indefinite leave to remain application. Currently, it's almost £2,300 for the basic price. You can pay more for, express services, which takes you to, £3,000 and over. So if you're a family of 5 paying for indefinite leave to remain, that's going to cost you almost £20,000. So you can see how the cost easily skyrocket, how the costs are easily building, how the costs are easily just getting out of hand. If you've got any questions regarding any of this, drop them in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe, hit that notification button, because if you're enjoying this content, there is more content coming for you, and there's more already in the channel that you can go through to make sure that you're informed, to make sure that your UK journey is as smooth as it can be, and make sure that you know the best possible steps to take, not only before you get to the UK, even before you ever get here. Once you're here, there are things that you can do to make sure that your journey is smoother, to make sure that you're more successful here. That is what this channel is all about. Also share with friends that are going to benefit from this, because there are people that will be planning to come to the UK, or people who are already students now, and they need to know this information in order to make more informed choices. Because the truth is, the more informed you are, the more successful you're going to be. And the law does not pardon any ignorance. I'm just going to put that out there. So international students are currently a wealth of, just wealth, to the UK. And I think that is why these numbers have been increased, because with COVID, with the recession, in fact, even just thinking about work, international students are able to work. Many of them are doing care jobs, working as carers. This is a skill that is really, really needed currently. And so if those students are covering for those jobs, if those students are taking up those positions while spending ridiculous amounts of money to be in this country, really, we can only be thankful that, these people are coming here. And so the least that can be done is taking away the dignity for people to live with their families, for people to bring their loved ones with them, bring their children with them. And there's no need, just looking, oh, how productive are you? How unproductive are you? It's just a crazy world out here. So if you're an international student, make sure that you stay posted on this channel. I'm going to keep you updated with everything that's going on. Just be rest assured. Hopefully, there are so many minds and so many important people that are speaking up against this policy. It's not a policy yet, but obviously it's currently under review. When they say it's under review, that changes are going to be coming forward, and obviously these will not be convenient changes. These changes will not be convenient for students, because while they want the money that the students bring, they don't want the people that are coming behind the students. But you cannot separate the two. If you want my money in the UK, you should be willing and able to accept my family to come and be with me. While I'm working the 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week, I should at least have my family with me. And, if you're thinking again of retiring early, stuff like that, check the description box below. There are other videos that I've done about what you need to do to get out of this rat race in the UK, set yourself up for success in order to retire early, and so that you don't die broke and wretched. Because look, the whole system is set up in such a way that there's just no way out. It's a trap for all of us. It's a trap to stay in the middle class and remain poor. So if you're an international student, or you're thinking of studying in the UK, just keep an eye, on the news, keep an eye on this channel to make sure that you're updated with everything that is going on. I'm going to keep you posted, and know that you're very much wanted, in this country. Obviously, you're needed as well. So, it's just a matter of us being really strong. It's just a matter of us knowing our worth, our value, being focused on the goal that you want to achieve, because that's the main thing. Coming to the UK, you can study, choose the right course, study the right things, make sure that you get career advice. I have a coaching and mentorship program where I support with career progression. Choose wisely when you're studying, because if you're spending £20,000 to study a course, what are you intending to do after you study that course? It doesn't just end in studying and getting the degree. What do you do after that? It's so incredibly important, because when you look at this money back home, when you look at the means that many of us use, to be able to study these courses, it isn't easy. So you need to make sure that you're studying a course that will not only add value to your personal life, but will add value to your career portfolio. That's what I'm talking about. Get career advice. You need career advice before you are even getting to the UK. Study the right courses. There are some courses that you go to universities, they only have international students. Why? And And then when you look at the job prospects after that, they're like, oh, 1% of people complete this course and get a job. So what's the point studying those things and paying £20,000? you know so we need to really be smart. We need to get information. We need to invest in ourselves. Very, very important. You must invest in yourself, in your knowledge, in your progress, in your ability to excel, because look, nobody else will. The system is set up such that we are going to work till we drop. You're going to be on a Zima frame, 80 years old. Nobody will know, who is working, who is the patient, what's going on. Because if you don't make the right decisions right now, and watching this channel is the best thing you can do. So subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. I'm going to keep you posted with the progress of this particular news about reviewing the ability for international students to bring their dependents to the UK, because I think it's just ridiculous to take this from students at a time when it's so tough in this country, at a time when workers are needed, and at a time when people need to be with their loved ones more than ever before. So just make sure that you're watching more videos, you're sharing this content with your beautiful friends, and it's so amazing to have you. Drop your comments in the comment section, and I'll meet you in the comment section, and we can continue the conversation over there.